Hello, I'm Edward Fairfax, and welcome to Views of a Progressive Christian. This is the online video series that presents points of interest to the progressive Christian community, also to secular and progressive communities worldwide. We will use as our resources the Holy Bible, both the Old and the New Testaments, and my own volume, Views of a Progressive Christian, which is available at Amazon.com, other online retailers, and can be found at the Yahoo group, Views of a Progressive Christian. There, buyers will find a direct link and a discount code to make the book even more affordable. Progressive Christianity is, in short, a seemingly new worldview that embraces both the historical disciplines of history and science, as well as the religious institutions of Scripture and prayer. Today, what to expect from your first experiences at church. Finding Jesus is an intense experience. Many born-again Christians and progressive Christians, who often share a secular upbringing such as my own, find the experience of church life intimidating and difficult. Many don't continue to attend through their first year. Why is this? Is it because the glow of epiphany fades as time goes on and prayers seem to go unanswered? Is it the feeling of being judged? The obligations? The often dull services? Or is it the unrealistic expectations of the new Christian? Church life seems to follow a cycle. Introduction, integration, membership, and leadership. The first is simple enough: one's introduction to church life. Here, the new Christian meets others, is met by them, establishes friendships. This is the honeymoon period. And why not? It's all coffee and cakes and the love of Jesus. Who wouldn't like that? During the next period, one is integrated into the church society, joining clubs, tithing, serving on committees, providing fellowship services like the aforementioned coffee and cakes. Even presiding, soloing, ushering, all are often done by church newbies, even before they become members. Late in this period, however, which can last over a year or more, church membership often becomes a question. One's desires for more or less activity within that church will likely determine if they become a member or not. Once integrated, the long period of membership begins. For years and perhaps a lifetime, a church member participates in sustaining the church through volunteerism and performing the aforementioned duties. A church runs on the efforts of those in the membership period. One likely result of membership is leadership. Being elected to offices, holding jobs within the church, service on leadership councils, chairing committees, being a reliable and constructive voice in the church. These things make a church leader. There's only one stage more: moving on to another church. Why does this happen? Oftentimes disagreements within leadership, job relocation, personal trials, and other factors can cause one to move from one church to another. Very often, when a Christian joins a new church, the cycle begins anew. One common feeling from the new Christians is that they feel that they are being judged by others at a given church. My experience has been that this is usually a case of transference. One is so worried about being judged, one feels as though they are being judged. Oftentimes, it is the new Christian who is doing the judging of that new church community. No wonder that they should feel judged themselves. Combine this with a general preconception that Christians are judgmental as a group, and it can make going to church an unhappy occasion for many. Is it true? Are Christians more judgmental, more gossipy than those who live a secular lifestyle? My experience is no, not any more so. I have found progressive Christians to be less judgmental and more forgiving than most secular people. As for conservative Christians, I do not know any and I cannot comment. But it is important to remember that a church is a small community, a society in microcosm. Anything one can expect to find in society, one will find in a church. The key to finding a society and a church where one can feel both socially and spiritually at home is to match the qualities you enjoy with the ones a society or church offers. That being said, one can easily imagine that, in such a small society as a church, little things stand out. If you come to church intoxicated, others will pick up on this and discuss it. They may even take it upon themselves to become involved. If you appear unkempt, or behave in a manner which is unsociable, word will get around fast. That's just the way it is in any society, great or small. Are churches more corrupt or dangerous than other places? As I illustrate in my book, there is some danger and corruption within churches and without, in society in macrocosm and microcosm. These vices occur in any and presumably all organizations to one degree or another. Are they more problematic in a church? Perhaps because of the high population of children and the positions of trust that so many hold in such an organization, they might be. But the opposite can also be said, that a church has a populace with a generally higher moral standard than secular societies, that they look out for their young better. One could argue easily that a secular elementary school is probably more dangerous than a Christian elementary school, for example. What of the obligations that so classically and logically and typically go along with church life? The weekly contributions, the gifts of time and possessions and labor. It is wise to remember that a church is not a cult. Any church that asks you to give all your money to that church, or all your possessions, or to sell all your possessions and give to that church all your money, is not a church. Rather, it is a cult. Do not join it. Instead, find another church. But any church only survives on its contributions. Most are very poor. They provide a lot of services to the community, as I've delineated in my book, but they cannot do it without some funds. And despite the image of a pastor as being wealthy and well-dressed, preaching from the back of a limo on money he stole from church funds, all I can say is that I've never seen it, and I don't know anyone who has. Churches need funds, and they need volunteers for the food banks and fundraisers and other worthwhile functions a church performs. If you do not feel that any particular church is worth your time or your resources, perhaps you should find another church. Are church services boring? They don't have to be. The Bible is filled with exciting, colorful events and profound writing. If the pastor is dull, maybe you should find another church. Is church music boring? Sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. It can be electric and rhythmic, passionate and moving. If your church music is boring to you, maybe you should find another church. Progressive churches exhibit far fewer of these unfortunate downfalls of church life, perhaps because secular backgrounds of those involved bring a strong defense against such transgressions. The older Christian institutions, such as those often favored by certain branches of the United States political spectrum, are more ensconced and have had time to let their vices and corruption fester and become ingrained. If that sounds like your church, maybe you should find another church. It is worth repeating here that a progressive Christian worships at a church. A progressive Christian does not worship a church or even the church. The progressive Christian worships God, values society, and lives happily in the cradle of both. It is more than natural, it is necessary. It is a matter of course and of recourse. It is a matter of fact and a matter of faith. I'm Edward Fairfax. This has been Views of a Progressive Christian. I urge you to keep believing, but also to keep thinking. Thank you.